Oriflamme. How many bearers suffer to keep your granaries full?
I know you can do that.
Don't let them get away.
What, those chocobos attacked me? You didn't see it?
Give them all you've got,
I'm trying to collect their teeth. I need their teeth for a weapon. I need wolf pelts and chocobo teeth. Also going to sell pie. The itemization, as in like the equipment, yes, it's very, very limited and basic, bare bones, I would say. To the point where I feel like it almost should have just... Oh, I was just memeing, I'm not actually crafting anything. We were joking because earlier there was a joke about chocobo teeth, so I was just joking that I'm collecting chocobo teeth. I'm not actually. I have like over 300 of half the... I have like over 450 of the things that those wolves drop.
You, Brandon, here now. You're late. What kept you? Late for what? Did they tell you nothing? A wild beast is savaging my boy.
My boy.
Well, don't just stand there gawping. Rescue him.
The funny thing is, I have not killed many wolves. It's because every single side quest gives you those material, and every single chest gives you those materials. I've only killed as many wolves as have been in my way. I haven't done a single minute of, like, quote-unquote grinding. Although I did replay the first mission once just to see how the mission replay worked.
Right.
That's literally the only, like, grinding I've done.
I see they've sent me a branded with a spine for a change. He's over that way, towards the coast. Go, and see that you kill the beast.
Go. Save my son. My chocobo isn't gonna brush his own teeth.
His son's in mortal danger. He didn't seem all that worried. Something's not right here. I need to be careful.
Is it a trap?
The wolf! It's going to eat me!
If I can help it.
The wolf! It's going to eat me!
Stay back. I'll deal with this.
Orgo got tired of waiting.
Fall.
Yeah, I should have just let Torgo do the whole fight. How's it going to be you?
No! You weren't supposed to kill Wolfie. You were supposed to die. Father will have you whipped for this. Bearers aren't supposed to win. They never win.
What is this? Your father said you were being attacked.
You're not supposed to talk. Stop looking at me like that. We were only having fun.
Having fun?
Why are you still speaking? Father will hear of this.
All right. What a great plan that was.
The wolf's work, no doubt. But it's not the wolf that's to blame. Someone needs to put an end to this before it happens again.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the point. Like I said, the writing of the side quests is really good. And it really sets the tone, and it really helps build out the world, and builds on the same themes that the main story does. They don't feel separated. It doesn't feel like we're saving the world but then stopping for 2 hours to play gold saucer minigames, you know. It all fits nicely. Not that the gold saucer is a problem, but you know, it all fits nicely and is all congruent. It's just a shame that they're not very fun or very have good rewards.
Brandy, come here this instant. How dare you frighten my son? You slaughter his poor pet and then have the gall to return, head held high. That wolf was trained. Better trained by far than your worthless kind. You are the entertainment, nothing more. And we are most certainly not entertained.
Nor am I. You'll pay for what you've done.
See? I told you, he talks too much. It's not right. I don't like him, Father.
You're not the branded I bought, are you? How dare you deceive me? Well, the sins of the slave are the sins of the master. Go, summon the unlucky wretch you answer to.
We get to pick. I feel like this would be smarter to say, but I kind of want to say this.
That unlucky wretch would be me. I'm my own master. I'm beholden to no one, and I take orders from no one.
Lies! Do you think I cannot see that brand on your face?
Brand?
Shut your mouth and listen. Those bearers you killed, they were people. They felt fear and pain, just as you do. And unless you wish to share in their suffering, you would do well to remember we are not your playthings.
Father, he's scaring me.
How dare you threaten us? How dare you?
Can't we just buy another hound? A bigger one, a better one.
Of course, my son. I'll have the villagers fetch us another. With jaws powerful enough to nip this branded's head clean off his shoulders.
So anyway.
I'm wasting my time. But I can't just leave those bearers lying out there. They deserve a proper burial. That much I can do at least. How many bearers have lost their lives to this nobleman's sport?
Can't we just kill him and make it look like a chocobo did it? Put some chocobo teeth on his body.
More victims of the nobles' games. You must be Clive.
How do you know my name?
The Dame. I'm in her service. Like yourself.
Nice ascot.
Never gets any easier, burying the dead.
Is that what you're here to do?
The mistress has me see to it that none are left to the crows. Since you're here, can you give me a hand?
Gladly. Let's put them to rest.
This side quest took a turn. I really hope we come back later, or even right now, and the kid just has like a straight up behemoth. So we bought a behemoth.
May their burden finally be lifted. I take it you slew the nobleman's pet?
I did. Now I expect they'll find another soon enough. And when it gets here, more bearers will die. How can they think so little of sending us to the slaughter?
Simple. Because you are not them. Bearers are tools when they're needed, and toys when they're not. And if one breaks, well, you can always buy another. Still, such attitudes don't always go unpunished.
Is this your doing?
Of course not. Wolves kill. It's in their nature. Invite one into your home, it's gonna tear your throat out eventually. Same with bearers. Fed or not, they don't lack for fangs. What will folk do when they bite back, I wonder? The realm's less two murderous bastards, and I won't mourn the loss. Here. For their help.
You don't have to.
Take it. You never know. Our paths may cross again. Till then.
Great side quest. That guy's great too, like just random NPC, but so much work put into his dialogue. I liked his 30 more ash, let's go. I liked his voice actor. I was gonna say, before they got killed by the wolf, I was gonna say if this were the remake, or if this were like any other Final Fantasy game that has more of a goofy humor, I would almost guarantee that they would buy like a Tonberry, and then the Tonberry just like turns around and stabs them, and that would be like the end of that side quest. Instead, we got a more gruesome, realistic ending to fit this game's narrative, but if it were any other Square Enix game, it probably would have been some goofy Tonberry stab. Is this their blood? And he ate him whole. Hate to see it.
You heard me. Shift your asses.
Yo, livestream, thank you so much, man. Did you just drop a M&M, eating M&Ms in twos? This guy and his M&M habits. It's just logical. Oh, go ahead. Ask livestream how he eats M&Ms.
Have you seen my Chloe? I let her out of her pen while I did my chores, but she hasn't come back yet. I think she's lost. Please, can you help me look for her?
I can't promise I'll find her, but...
Oh, hey, the hype chats actually show up in my Streamlabs now. Or not in my Streamlabs, but it shows up in my thing. My Twitch alerts thing, so I can actually see them.
I'll try. Describe her to me.
She's beautiful white hair. She lets me stroke her when I'm sad.
Okay, too much info.
She's ever such a good girl. So quiet and kind. And she likes walking in the wheat. I know the fields are big, but she's never got lost before. Oh, she must be starving too. She hasn't eaten anything since yesterday. It is my job to feed her.
In that case, let's not keep her waiting.
And voice acting.
That's a lot of field to search. With a little luck, someone might have seen her.
What about this person 2 steps away?
You work these fields? I need to ask you something.
A branded. And an outsider at that, judging by the lack of manners. Why should I help you, eh? You tell me that.
Because a girl from the village asked me to find her pet. Chloe. Have you seen her?
Chloe, is it? Oh, little Lisette's plaything. Last I saw, the filthy creature was sniffing about the windmill. That girl's old enough to know she should tie her pet up when she's finished playing with it.
I like how the little girl's pet is like global language for... Yeah, okay, I'll help you.
Idol branded underfoot.
It's a little girl's pet? Alright, I'll help. Yeah, think we can give a sub to Sun?
Chloe?
You kidding me? You can literally see the dog from here.
More brown than white.
Oh nope, never mind. It's not Chloe.
You're not Chloe, are you, girl? Is that someone napping on the job?
How dare they?
They don't mind the interruption.
How dare they nap? Oh.
The crystal's curse.
Chloe, I was calling you. Didn't you hear me?
What?
Get up now. You've slept long enough. It's time to go home. Chloe? Why did you already turn into a rock? I only made you do a bit of magic. You knew you were my favorite. None of the other Chloes had pretty hair. It could be months before Dad gives me another one. I have to wait until they're too tired to work anymore.
Is that all she was to you? A plaything? Do you really not care that she's dead?
She's not dead. She's a rock.
True.
What? The crystal's curse, that's just how she died. And now she's gone forever. Giving another bearer her name won't change that.
No, don't say that.
It's true. And without that brand, she would have been just another girl. Somebody's daughter. Just like you.
But Dad said bearers don't have parents.
They do. Parents that give them away. Families they'll never see again. But you became Chloe's family when you took her in. Remember that. And remember her.
Oh. Way to go, Clive. You made her cry. Clive makes little girls cry, confirmed. Quest complete, made a little girl cry. Here's your experience. Yeah, that was a cool quest. Like, subverting the player's expectations is a great way to make them think critically, you know.
If the people of Moor are as intolerant as Isabel says, it's no wonder the Empire never sent my unit here.
Yeah, it adds to the, because we had this moment in the story just before we quit last week, or yesterday, where Clive had to make this choice of like, do I just end it all here? Or do I continue because the world is in such a horrible place and I want to make it better? And we kind of saw Clive make that decision. Like, it's better for me to try to better the world than to just end it and let the world continue to be what it is. So Clive made that decision, and here we're kind of seeing a support to that decision. Like, ever since he made that decision, we're seeing more and more how broken the world truly is, and it's supporting this decision of Clive's to better it and to do whatever he can to better it, you know? So, it's good stuff. Hey, look, another useless merchant.
Don't touch anything.
I'm not gonna say it.
Good riddance.
Not gonna say it.
Weren't expecting any new branded until the new moon. You don't think he's a deserter?
Where's the actual quest? Hello, Bertrand.
You, Bertrand. The dame sent me.
Sounds about right. Only time I hear from her is when she wants something. Well, go on then. What is it?
One of her courtesans has gone missing, and I need to find her. A soldier who may have information on her whereabouts is rumored to have come here to meet with a trader.
Many traders stop to peddle their wares on their way to the capital, but only one's been seen quarreling with a soldier.
Is he still here?
The trader? Oh, yeah. Stubborn sod stood his ground till the soldier got tired of shouting, from what I hear. If you seek him out, keep your head down. Fact is, folks round here would sooner hang a branded than help him. And that's even with the dame's brooch for protection.
Understood.
I wonder if that means if I had said I was from the Dame, if that one guy would have been like, I don't give a crap about the Dame. That's kind of why I said the other thing. Because I figured that would be the response. So I kind of wanted to see what the other response would be. But I don't think he would have reacted the same way the soldiers reacted.
What's this? A branded? Where's your master? Must I call for the constable?
I come to you from Northreach, at the behest of the Dame. Perhaps you've heard of her.
Why, of course I have. I am the good lady's servant. What is it that she requires of me?
Rumor has it you were seen arguing with a soldier some few days ago. A soldier...
Again, I have to go back to this distance thing because it's continually confusing. The guy was like, okay, go talk to the merchant, but be sure to keep your head down because people don't like your kind around here. But he was so close to me that I didn't even have, like, he literally could have been like, he's right there. You know what I mean? And it's constant. Like, every single time someone tells me to go somewhere or talk to someone, they're always, like, so close that it just seems weird. Like, their dialogue doesn't match up with what they're saying. You know, like, it's just weird. Like, I feel like they wrote the dialogue thinking that the areas were going to be bigger. And then somewhere in development, they decided to make all the areas smaller. And they didn't change the dialogue. You know what I mean? There was that one, when we were at the brothel, the lady was like, she's right over there by the lake. And that's the only time I've heard someone say something like that. Everyone else is always like, just kind of says like, oh, he's somewhere. He's here somewhere. He's in the town. Just be careful as you're trying to find him. And they're like right there. It's just really strange.
The scar over his eye.
How's it going, Legend?
Yes, that's right. He had a comb which he claimed was an antique. Said he wanted to trade it for a newer one.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. I think at some point throughout the development, they decided, like, let's have the characters be closer together so we don't have to do as much running. Because the game is more about the action. So, you know, let's cut down on the running. But then they didn't change the dialogue to reflect that. You know what I mean? So because of that, it comes off as a bit weird. Is all, you know. I don't think it's a problem that the characters are so close together. I think that was probably by design. But I think they maybe should have changed the dialogue to reflect it, and they just didn't.
But
it's not a big deal.
It was an antique. It most certainly was not, as I told him.
You mean he's not by the well? He's always by the well. Meanwhile, guy is standing at the well.
he insisted that it was of great value and was quite vehement about my appraisal. I stood firm, however, and for all his bluster, he still purchased a new comb, albeit an inexpensive one.
And do you know where he went after that?
My customers aren't usually in the habit of telling me whither they are bound, but as it happens, this one did. Yonder ruins, strange as it may sound.
My thanks.
Not at all. I would do anything for the Dame. Anything. Be sure and tell her, won't you, that I was helpful. I mean, most helpful.
Please tell her I was helpful, please. Wait, did you post that clip in the chat? Because I didn't say hi to you? Or am I missing the joke here?
It smells of death here, Torgal. Wolves.
Was it like an out of context joke? I'll say hi to you if you want. Hi. I gotta watch that clip now. I'm curious. Oh, the parry. Yo, Cammy, thank you for the 17 months. Honestly, it's such a bad look when Final Fantasy XV has better side content. Well, like... Okay, here's the question, though. When it comes to side quests in a game like this, is it better to A, have good writing and help to tell the story, or B, be fun and give good rewards? What would you rather out of your side quests if you have to pick one? Because that will determine which one you think is better. Because I don't think 15 is better. I think 15 has more interesting side quests that give better rewards. But the writing is horrid. This game has good writing and good storytelling in the side quests, but aren't fun and don't have good rewards. So it depends on which one you care about more. But I don't think they're inherently better or worse than each other. Why would you settle for either? Exactly. Why can't we have both? But I'm responding to what Cammy said. So like, I don't think either one is better. I think they're both bad in their own way. But which one, you know? Which one would you prefer if you had to pick one? Yeah, thank you for the gift of the sub to Dumbu. You do have to pick one if you're playing Final Fantasy 15 or Final Fantasy 16. Unfortunately. This game, I would pick option A, as there are really no good rewards anyway, so story is more important. True. I mean, what would they even give in this game? There's nothing to give. And I think that's the biggest... flaw here, is that, like, what would they give? There's nothing to give. the system doesn't really give us much to work with the side quests. It goes back to what I was saying before. Like, I think they put in the side quests late in development and thought, you know, what do we give the player? Like, we don't have anything to really give them.
Damn it all. Bodies. A man and a woman.
Give me a special ring that one-shots everything.
Well, the wolves have been busy. But the blood is long dry. So it is you, Tatienne.
If that's true, then the body next to hers will be Yannick's. The girl Yannick went off to sea every night. You said her name was Tatienne.
You. Did you follow me?
Now, why would I do that? Unless you think I'd have good reason to. But no. I was sent to find Yannick. By the looks of things, I have.
We both found who we were searching for.
Nah, he was a jealous sod. Couldn't stand the thought of his woman with someone else. Then one day he sees her with a new comb. Thinks she's got herself a new gallant. Tells the garrison he's going to find the man and kill him. We know it's all talk, but then he disappears off to Moor for some dealings and doesn't come back.
If you mean this comb, it was a gift from the dame.
If only Yannick had bothered to ask, eh? He might not be rotting on a hill.
Probably wouldn't have believed her anyways.
I think he meant to ask her something else. He stole the old comb and bought her a new one in the hope they'd wed.
Wed? Where would they have gone? Certainly not back to Northreach with a dame waiting. And we all know what happens to deserters. Tell the dame I'm sorry for her loss. When the lads come to collect Yannick's body, I'll see that Tatienne is delivered to the Vale.
Is that wise?
Oh, there won't be any covering up this mess. The most we can hope for is that the dame doesn't hold it against us. Speaking of which, I saw her in Moor just now. Could you tell her what happened? Might sound better coming from you.
Why'd she come to Moor? She could have just come with us.
I need to tell Isabel. Perhaps the comb will give her something to remember Tatienne by.
This game really needs a fishing minigame. I was talking yesterday about the lack of minigames in this game, which I'm not saying is necessarily like games bad, but it's curious because like Square Enix loves minigames. Like Square Enix and minigames name a more iconic duo. You know what I mean? So it's kind of weird that there's like nothing at all. And I think, you know, usually Square Enix has minigames in their games to kind of break up the gameplay. Like the idea behind it is you never get sick of the main gameplay because you're constantly mixing in this like card game or board game or whatever. And I feel like this game, of all the Final Fantasies, would benefit the most from that. Because it's more of a hack and slash combo based action game, and those tend to be the types of games that benefit the most from breaking up the monotony. Now, I'm not bored of the combat in this game by any means, but just from a game development standpoint, usually action games are the ones where people get a bit bored of the gameplay as it goes further, whereas strategy games and RPGs, not so much. So it would just make sense to have some kind of chocobo racing or card game or just something, right? And Square Enix, of all companies, would be the one to do it. So it is kind of strange. And it adds even more fuel to the fire of me feeling like the game was a bit... Again, I hate to use the term rushed, because that may or may not be true, but definitely they focused on certain aspects and put others to the side, you know. I was going B3. Not yet. There has been absolutely nothing other than just fighting things so far. And we're about 20 hours in.
That needed delivering, I could have seen to it, milady.
You are still in one piece, I see. You will be pleased to hear that your companions have arrived. They said they would meet you at a little chapel to the east of here.
Like, not even, we haven't even had any, like, mini game. Like, we haven't even had any, like, side quests where they were like, hey, can you help me get the bucket out of this well? And then you have to, like, mash square or something. Like, literally nothing. It's only been dialogue and fights.
But you needn't have come all this way just to tell me. I was on my way to see you.
You found her then? I see. My dear Tatienne. It is by no means uncommon for a client to fall for a courtesan. Especially a client who's young and far from home. But rarely do such tales have happy endings.
I found this with Tatienne. I believe it was yours.
Hey, just so you know, I appreciate you being here if you don't like the game. I mean, I want to have people here who dislike the game I'm playing. I would love to hear your comments on it. I appreciate it even more, you being here and not liking the game I'm playing. That's, you know, I appreciate that even more than just being here because you like the game. So thank you for being here. And I appreciate your comments. If you're, you know, as long as you're, you know, not offending anyone or being too aggressive. But yeah, I much prefer having people here that like and dislike the game. So I just want to put that out there.
Thank you for
I don't want anyone to ever feel unwelcome just because they don't agree with anyone's comments here, whether it be mine or anyone else in the chat. I want you to feel welcomed here regardless.
She'll see that it has a place on her pyre.
And like I've said before, I prefer having people on both ends of the spectrum, you know, so that we can have real conversations and not just be an echo chamber.
I should go.
Before you do, I have one last gift. A token of my thanks. The Vale counts among its patrons several high-ranking officers of the Imperial Army. According to one of the looser-tongued gentlemen, it would appear that the legions are planning to march south.
Otto mentioned the same thing.
But did he mention that it was all of the legions? This is no mere skirmish. Were I to guess, I'd say the Emperor planned to abandon the capital. But that couldn't possibly be true now, could it? Take care, Clive.
I will. And thank you again.
No problem, Retro. I just wanted to make that clear, you know. Mavic, thank you for the gifted sub. And Yet as well. Thank you. How's it going, Sephi? Yeah, I haven't submitted it yet because I haven't uploaded the video yet. But when I upload the video, I'll probably submit it, and then I'll be back to Chaos Legion after we're done with 16. So I plan on pushing it even further. But I probably will upload the 109.19. That run was crazy. Can't wait to upload that. Like, just absolutely insane. We were like, the whole community, for those of you that haven't been watching the Chaos Legion speedruns, the whole community was memeing about 110. Like it, because at first I thought 110 would be a bit of a stretch. And the whole community was like, nope, you're going to get 110. Easy. 110's easy. And we were at like 114, and I was like, can I really save 4 minutes on top of this? But the whole community was just like, nope, 110's free. 110's free. And then we found a bunch of like route stuff that really helped out. And then I got a 110, I think it was like 50 or something. And then, no, maybe it was less than that. But then like a couple runs after that, we got a 109, 19. So we just absolutely demolished 110, totally, almost 108. So that was pretty funny. Pretty crazy run that was. And I think we can push it even lower when we get back to it. Yes. 2 gil, let's freaking go. Why is it always 2 gil? it's so triggering. Like, not only is it completely useless, but it's always 2. No, it's always 2. The pickups are always 2. Sometimes it's 3, but that's drops from enemies. The pickups are always 2. It's like programmer humor. It's like they're memeing me. You get 2 gil. That's it. And what's funny is the pickups are, again, the balance in this game is just so weird. The pickups on the field are either 2 gil, a potion, or a high potion. And high potions are like 500 gil. It's like, what is that balance? Like, I don't understand. It's just so strange. Everything about the game and the way it's all just so strangely balanced. The combat itself is balanced so well.
Any trouble on the way?
But everything else is just bizarre.
As I was telling Jill, it's worse than I thought. The capital's crawling with soldiers.
And here I am, the deserter come home.
Which is why we'll be taking the back door.
I know what the back door is. Climb all the way up the mountain and then parachute in. They'll never see it coming. Midgar raid all over again. Finally, we have to play Celeste all the way up the mountain. This pleasure house is here too. I guess that's how we get in. Sparkling laughter. Why does she just do that?
Can't think of a safer place in the Empire than a... brothel.
Really? Doesn't seem very private.
The music here is so fitting.
So then, how do we proceed?
We'll be using the glass gate. Tonight, just after sunset.
Where the shards are loaded for transport. That is one of the most heavily guarded points in all of Sambrek.
But not the most, which is a start. Besides, I know a shortcut straight to the heart.
A shortcut? And how exactly did you come to know about this fatal chink in the Empire's armor?
Let's just say I may have attempted something similar before. And may have ended up running for dear life after being discovered by Bahamut, but that's not important.
Sid, if the Mother Crystals truly are the cause of the Blight...
If? You wound me, Jill.
What I'm trying to say is, if the powers that be know all of this, why do they sit idle and allow it to continue?
In case you haven't noticed, the God-fearing people of this realm and their pious leaders care for but one thing, themselves. And they'll do whatever it takes to hold on to power. The rest of us are just a means to an end. The moment you raise your voice against them, you're decried as an outlaw, clapped in irons and slung in a cell to rot. An outlaw. Whoever controls the crystals controls the realm. But our kind can wield magic without them. To our rulers, we must seem the most convenient of tools, and the most dangerous.
But what makes them think they have the right to use us? To leave us to die when our bodies are spent?
Does a nobleman weep for a broken mug? A torn tunic? Our fate means nothing to them. No, this isn't a battle you can win with words. Believe me, I've tried, but nothing ever gets through. The world is simply not ready to listen. So to hell with talking. If they won't give us a say, we'll decide our fates another way. You can't blame a man for wanting to bring an end to all this, can you?
I can't. But what of all the people you mean to rob of their comforts? Are you happy for them to call you outlaw?
Sid the Outlaw. Ah, that'll do me.
You might at least pretend to take this seriously.
Have a little faith, Jill. Even if you don't think much of my choice of digs. If it means my deeds will be remembered, I'll gladly play the role of villain. But first, we have a gate to crash. And once we're in, there'll be no turning back. So you best make ready. The world won't save itself.
Yeah, even the townspeople won't listen. You think the higher ups will listen? Well, I'll go back to the hideaway, but there ain't gonna be nothing here for me. I can almost guarantee it.
And what do you want? If you're gonna buy something, be quick about it.
Nope.
Finished, are you?
There ain't nothing in him either.
I heard Otto barking at his lot earlier.
I don't think I got any new songs. Wrong way.
Clive, was it?
There is Fire, Fyra, and Fyraga, but the enemies use them, not us. And they're basically just regular attacks. They don't even have elements. Like Fyraga and Aeroga are practically the same thing other than what you do to dodge them. I mean, I got nothing to do. When you charge magic, it becomes Fyra? Kind of, but not even. It's not even Fyra, it's just Magica. You have reached a pivotal moment in the story. If you continue, you will not be able to return. I got nothing else to do.
are not nearly enough men here.
Then it's fortunate the city guard doesn't take sentry assignment as seriously as you do. This bold...
Wait. Find me one person in 100,000 who have played Final Fantasy II? Who here has played Final Fantasy II?
Well,
You're in the wrong chat for that.
this may not be such a terrible plan after all.
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
Only that your last secret shortcut was nowhere near as secret as you claimed.
Yeah, but that's half the fun of it. Life's too short for perfect plans. You want a plan that'll keep you on your toes, stop you growing old and complacent.
Worked for you, has
You're
it?
in the Final Fantasy zone, boy.
Clive, my boy, even life's smallest challenges offer the opportunity to grow and to change. You must embrace these moments.
We ain't playing this because it's the new hotness. We're playing this because it's Final Fantasy.
Narrowly escaping
You're deep in the Final Fantasy zone.
is not my idea of fulfillment.
Something wrong?
Not at all. Just wondering if the two of you had finished.
Right. We make for the Mother Crystal's heart as planned.
What do you mean, don't I have a Let's Play of Final Fantasy II? What? Darth. Haven't you been here for a couple of years? Haven't you been here for Fantathon literally every Friday for the past 2.5 years? Are you okay? Are you drunk?
Quiet, and the whole thing should come tumbling down.
And if the passage to the inner sanctum is guarded?
Then we embrace the moment and use it to grow and change.
Go drunk, you're home. Then point it out. Don't play a game.
Come on, this way.
Just say I have it.
Out of sight.
Say what you mean.
Obviously.
Don't worry, the passage is empty.
No need to beat around the bush. Oh. We're in stealth mode now, guys. We're all hunched over. I hope this isn't like Final Fantasy XV stealth. $800 gil. Now we're talking. Snake, remember, this is a sneaking mission. How much you want to bet we just walk like this for a bit and then get into regular fights?
Alright, not quite empty. Let's get this over with.
One single man from reaching the sanctum.
I swear this passage used to be secret.
Of course it did.
Perfect plans, Clive. Perfect plans.
I kind of like this better because I can actually punish people on the ground. If I grab them, I can't punish them. Already better than 15 stealth combat. Just pretending to stealth and then just having us fight normally is a big upgrade. Oh, this is real stealthy. Kick that wood.
They never stood a chance.
You're welcome.
Yeah, if you're smart, you can dodge stuff with Phoenix Shift too.
The main tunnel.
That would be my guess. There are sentries everywhere.
Go. I gotta wait for him. I kind of doubt that, actually. Whenever PC ports come of Square Enix games, it's always just the game. They don't add
All
things.
good things must come to an end. We might have a bit more company from now on.
They'll add the DLC, but that's it. Alright, we gotta do this stealth-like. You think they heard me?
Captain, intruders! Summon the cannoneer! At once!
Holy crap, this is a fight.
Over here. Don't let them get away.
I think this may be the moment I was talking about earlier.
What have we here? More insects come to be squashed? You will find my mortar and I only too happy to oblige.
That is a
With a talker.
Then let's shut him up.
monster hunter level weapon.
Give them all you've got, boy.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. Oh, look at him go.
Thank you, Master.
You feel that? Something in the air.
It's Ether.
Then we better make this quick.
Oh.
Not this time. Too slow. My wounds, boy.
Why won't you die?
Is he?
Oh, bollocks. He's got a Kashik.
Poor wretch.
Save your pity. You'll get none in return. There's nothing left of him but hatred and rage.
Let's end his torment. My wounds, boy.
Oh shoot, I didn't realize he was staggered there. Man, that hits me there, even though it looks like I'm behind it. I see. That works now. Oof. I have to catch up on this conversation now because I was fighting that boss. There's definitely levels. Joe said that I don't think everyone's arguing that change is bad, but everyone has a limit. There's different levels. There's people that think change is good, like regardless, and then there's people that think that change is good, but perhaps the last couple of Final Fantasy games have gotten too far away from Final Fantasy. And then there's people that are like, I jumped ship at Final Fantasy IX. You know what I mean? We talked about this earlier too, where like there's a big gap between people that after Final Fantasy X were like, I'm accepting of Square Enix changing their series after a decade of doing the same thing over and over again. And then there's also people that are like, if it says Final Fantasy, I expect it to be a Final Fantasy. And that it depends on which camp you fall into, you know. Some people agree that after 10 years of the same exact thing, Square Enix has their right to change the core gameplay of Final Fantasy. Other people think that if you're going to change the core gameplay, it shouldn't be Final Fantasy. It should be Square Enix, you know, presents King's Quest 1 and 2, you know, whatever. Change the name, change the whole IP, right? So it really depends on which camp you fall in. If you fall in the camp of Final Fantasy should be a turn-based game because it was for 10 years, and if you're going to make something else, don't call it Final Fantasy, then yeah, I mean, this game is going to frustrate you even more than 12, 13, and 15 did, because it's definitely really far removed. If you're someone that thinks that after 10 years it's okay to change it up, then this won't bother you. For me, I'm kind of a bit in the middle where, like, I think it's okay to change it, and I'm also a big fan of the changes they've made. But this game is starting to get into the realm of, like, wow, is this even Final Fantasy? It's really only Final Fantasy in story, you know what I mean? So I do have my gripes about that, but I think, you know, I'm kind of here for the change. I had a decade of turn-based RPGs. Square is still making other turn-based RPGs. I'm okay with them sending Final Fantasy in a different direction. And I think part of that is because Final Fantasy is their flagship franchise, and they want it to be successful, and they know what's going to be successful. If they just kept Final Fantasy as a turn-based RPG in 2023, it would be a lot less successful than this. And because Final Fantasy is their flagship franchise, and it's what they use to make money, they are curving Final Fantasy in order to make the most amount of money, which is fair because it's the game that's keeping them alive. It is their flagship franchise, you know. But they haven't completely given up on turn-based RPGs either. They still make turn-based RPGs. They still make remasters of old turn-based RPGs. They still, you know, they still appease that crowd, but just Final Fantasy itself, they had to change it in order to stick with the times and continue making enough money to support their insanely huge company. So to me, it's okay. But I do admit that this game is starting to get to the point now where it's so far removed that I almost feel like we should be dropping the Final Fantasy moniker and going with something else, or even calling it, I was back when they first announced How's it going, Zeno, by the way? Ever since they first announced Stranger of Paradise, I got like really excited because I thought Stranger of Paradise was going to be they're basically splitting Final Fantasy, and they were going to take Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise down this line of like action RPGs mixed with Neo and those types of gameplay mechanics. And then they were going to take Final Fantasy down this other route of like sticking with the original Final Fantasy, maybe being a bit more action oriented like Final Fantasy 15, but still having that deep RPG feel to it. You know what I mean? So when I first heard Stranger of Paradise, I was like, oh, finally, they're splitting the timelines and they're going one way with action RPGs and one way with more modern RPGs. But then that wasn't at all what it was. It was just a spin-off game, you know, so that kind of failed. But at first I was excited because I thought that's what they were doing. So, and I still think that would work. I still think they could do something like that where they could have a kind of split the series and have this more action-oriented series and have this more standard RPG series. But you have to remember, that's not what makes money. What makes money is Final Fantasy XVII, and then you make it gameplay that's the most popular right now. You know, what makes money is Game of Thrones is popular. Action games are popular. Let's combine these concepts and put Final Fantasy in the name. That's what makes money. And Square Enix is a big company, and Final Fantasy is their money maker. So if they want to continue being a big company, if they want to continue all of their mobile stuff, if they want to continue making the remake, which is just like an insane amount of manpower going into the remake, 3 games that they're going to make that are just full crazy projects. Then you have Kingdom Hearts 4 as well. Then you have all the other things they publish. If they want to continue doing all the things that they want to do, you know, Final Fantasy is their moneymaker. So for me, it's like, it makes sense. But, you know, back to what I was saying before, they could have done more to make this feel a bit more like a Final Fantasy and not just go straight into what this is, you know, because right now it really is only Final Fantasy and story. And even then, I would even argue that it's not. The crystals are really what is keeping it grounded in the Final Fantasy universe. Everything else is kind of its own thing, which is fine. But I'm just saying, like, even the story hasn't really reached a pinnacle of, oh, wow, this is really a Final Fantasy story. This is really a group of heroes come together to save the world. This is really all these like things that make Final Fantasy stories. At least now we're kind of saving the world and defending the world from darkness, and like that kind of fits the Final Fantasy narrative. But other than that, you know, it's not really that much of a Final Fantasy story either. But I digress. Maybe they're tricking us. It's the most non-Final Fantasy game ever, but then suddenly it becomes the most Final Fantasy game ever. Yeah, that boss was definitely a step up in difficulty. Yeah, there's Moogles and Chocobos, but even they are not used much so far. I just like playing video games. How dare you? Do you feel Final Fantasy XIII was the combat they were aiming for, but didn't because of the backlash? You mean like for this game, or you're saying like... No. No, they weren't aiming for Final Fantasy XIII combat in anything other than 13. Make each new Final Fantasy a new genre. Yeah, I was going to mention that. There's an interesting comparison between Final Fantasy and Darksiders. So, like, Darksiders, everybody praised Darksiders because the whole thing with Darksiders is the first game was basically a God of War clone, the old God of War clone. And then the second game was like a Kingdoms of Amalur clone almost. It was like a single player MMO. And then the third game was, I believe, like a top-down RPG, like Diablo clone. So like each game has a completely different style of gameplay. But they're called Darksiders 1, 2, and 3. After that, they started naming them different names. But the first three games, Darksiders 1, Darksiders 2, Darksiders 3, are completely different experiences. But they call them 1, 2, and 3. And everyone kind of gave them like praise for that. Whereas Final Fantasy, you know, if it's not a turn-based RPG, it's like, this isn't my Final Fantasy. Which, to be fair, Final Fantasy was a turn-based RPG for over a decade before it started changing. So that's the real reason. But it's just interesting to kind of look at the difference there. Because, no, you know, I don't ever really see anyone praising Square Enix for the changes. More of just accepting it. I see people saying it's not Final Fantasy anymore, and I see people saying I'm okay with this change, but I don't really ever see anyone like actually praising them, being like, you did it, Square. You brought Final Fantasy into the modern age. You changed Final Fantasy in a way that now new people are going to play it because it fits the type of game that they like to play. I never really see that. I don't see that argument given. When people say like, oh, this isn't Final Fantasy anymore, they've totally jumped the ship. I don't normally see people respond with like, but this is bringing in new players. This is getting new people invested in Final Fantasy. Someone that would never play a turn-based RPG in their life might play Final Fantasy XVI and really enjoy it, and then decide to give the pixel remasters a try. You know what I mean? And I don't usually see that argument, but I think it's a valid one. I don't think that's really... I mean, I wouldn't say that just trumps everyone else's argument, but it is a valid argument. I mean, and I think Square definitely showed us that with the remake. With the remake, they said that a lot. They said, listen, we're making this an action RPG because we want more people to enjoy the story of Final Fantasy VII. We want people that will never touch a turn-based RPG to still experience this amazing story we told. And so we're making it an action RPG so that those of you that like turn-based RPGs will hopefully still enjoy it. But those of you that hate turn-based RPGs will get into it and enjoy it and maybe even give the original a shot. And they were very specific with that when they would do interviews and stuff. They would say that. So, you know, I think it's a fair assessment to say that they're kind of doing the same thing with the newer Final Fantasies. But I don't usually see that argument. Yeah, and you know, like I said before, it's not like they've completely buried turn-based RPGs. They still make them. And they still publish them. It's just not Final Fantasy anymore, you know? It's being review bombed because people want it on Xbox. Oh my god, dude. Review bombing is so cringe. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Certain review bombing is one thing, but you're going to review bomb a game for not coming out on Xbox as if that's going to help it come out on Xbox. If you review bomb it, they're going to give up on it and not do anything with it. Because they're like, oh, people hate it. They're not going to make DLC. They're not going to update the game. And they're not going to port it to Xbox or PC. If you review bomb it, you idiots, what are you doing? If you want it to come out on Xbox, give it a good rating. You fools. Not to mention, they're probably not going to read your stupid review anyways. But regardless, what are you doing? You're literally fighting against yourself. Increases ignition damage. That does nothing for me, I don't think. What the heck is logic?
I'll never get used to that. Akashic or no, he was still a man. A man who drowned in ether.
It's no way for anyone to go.
Yo, let's check this out. Aha, see? It'll tell us. See, this thing comes into play more often than not. The irreversible change brought about by a living being's overexposure to ether. Creatures are stripped of any intelligence or sense of self they may once have had and become suffused with life force, usually manifesting as extreme strength and aggression. Flora can also turn, resulting in their twisted overgrowth. Those with ethereal tolerance, however, such as dominants and bearers, are less likely to turn Akashic. But sometimes they still do, and that's why their summons sometimes go crazy. I would imagine it's the same mechanic.
Come on.
Guard duty's a death sentence.
This area's pretty dope.
Not that Sylvester cares.
You know what this area looks like? That area in Stranger of Paradise. The mines. Looks exactly like that. Alright, what time is it? Go for a few more minutes and then we'll take a break, get lunch. I was gonna say it's a good place to stop, but...
Breathe deep of the blessing, my friends. Who said being a dominant doesn't have its benefits?
Sid, this is an ether flood.
There shouldn't be one here, should there? The workers couldn't survive this.
Well,
thanks,
I
Darth.
wasn't here last time, I can tell you that. Which means we need to be quick. The ether won't hurt us, but I'd rather not find out what it's done to everyone else.
Torgal will be fine. Good point, though. They don't really... didn't say anything about Torgal. He's got plot armor.
The miners. The gods.
Too far gone. The ether's made monsters of them. All we can do now is put them out of their misery.
Isabel said she thought the Empire might be planning to abandon the capital. Could this be why?
She said you could call her Elizabeth. Never mind. If ever there was a reason to up sticks, an ether flood would be it. What me? Those guards at the gate. They weren't there to keep people out.
They were there to keep the Akashic in.
What are you guys talking about? I was killing things. Kind of interesting. They did say that plants can also get whatever it's called, Akashic. Why not doggos? It's safe. Breaks.
Doesn't look that far. Right.
Sid, you're Ramu. Just like float or something.
Why, yo? Some help.
Hold on.
Some help.
Not quite as spry as I used to be.
I'll take that as a thank you.
Look on the bright side, eh? At least you won't get lost.
Okay. I get that we're trying to say something about Sid here, but come on. That was a bit ridiculous. The dude is Ramu, he could just freaking transform. And why did they just like leave him? Like it's like super dangerous jump and they're just like, yeah, good luck Sid, like not even paying attention as he jumps across. Like if you're with your buddies and you jump over this bridge, you're not gonna watch them make the jump, like you're just gonna walk away. Like he'll be fine. That was a bit silly. I get that they're trying to like say something about Sid there though, but it's just funny, like, yeah, it's not very believable that that's the way he would act there. Some opponents will use the ability War Cry to invigorate themselves, enhancing their performance in battle. Look for the up sword icon and try to defeat them before they can deal too much damage. I don't see an up sword icon. Yeah, where's Bernard? Need somebody to fix the bridge. Oops. Press the wrong button. Oh, Jill over here just... Oh, Jill and Torgal. Just killed all them. The power that the teammates have is pretty interesting, because you have no control over them. You don't even get to equip them or anything. It's not like 15, where you have like some sort of effect on them. Like, they're just complete guest characters, but they're actually really strong. They will kill multiple things as you're fighting. They're no Donald and Goofy level of power. I kind of like it. Feels a bit better than, you know, because they're supposed to be strong. You know, they're supposed to be my power level, so fits the narrative that they actually would be able to hold their own and not just sit there and take damage until you save them. Like, I much prefer they add a few enemies to every fight and have the NPCs be strong than to, like, you know, subtract enemies and have your NPCs do nothing. Like, I much prefer the former. It also makes the fights feel more epic when there's more enemies around. When you have 2 partners and a dog and you walk into a fight and there's only 3 enemies, but you take out all 3 of them, it's like, wow. That's pretty dumb. But when you walk in and there's like 12 enemies, then it feels like super epic, even if they ended up killing half of them. Is this a shortcut? Is this where we're going? Oh, I have no map. This might be a dead end. Yeah, Goofy Tornado in, well, Goofy Tornado in Kingdom Hearts 2, the original, was busted. And then they fixed it in 2.5, but they accidentally broke one of Donald's abilities. In the process, which is pretty funny. But yeah, original Kingdom Hearts 2, Goofy Tornado was hilariously broken. Like, could one-shot bosses broken. Not to mention you're invincible the whole time you're using it, but...
It's over.
Whoa.
Wake wins.
That move puts me too far up in the air. I can't, like, use an ability right afterwards. I love using this move just to jump around them. But sometimes it fails, like when they do that. Should have used my limit, but...
Don't let them get away. Keep your distance. Give them all you've got, boy.
Whoa, what happened to those other two? They just... disappeared. Yeah, Donald's limits are nuts because of how long they last, and you're invincible the whole time, so it's actually what Sora's doing during the limit, not Donald. Alright, maybe we'll break here, since it looks like we're about to get into some stuff. So let's take a break here, and then we will jump back in after lunch.